Hello, everybody. My name is Izzy von Luismenverg. You're probably familiar with my nephew Garrett. Ah, I love that kid. I barely got to know him, though. He was born after my little, incident back in, 1990. You might have heard of me before. I'm the crazy teacher who got her entire class killed. Well, in my defense, I did not know could be so feisty. Anyway, now Garrett is a bright young lad, but I've noticed while watching his videos that he only ever talks about zoology and mythology, and I got to thinking, well, I used to be a science teacher before I got discredited for that little incident, but I never got arrested, so I'm not technically a convicted criminal. Anyway, anyway, I thought, hey, there's more sciences than just zoology out there. I could teach the world. So I hacked into his YouTube channel, and I am now uploading this video that you are watching right now. To ease you guys in, let's talk of one of the most familiar scientific subjects, because it deals with where we are, the solar system. In this video, we will be discussing all the most important objects in the solar system, starting, of course, with the most important of all, the sun. I mean, without the sun, we wouldn't even have a solar system. We'd just be a bunch of rogue planets. Like all stars, the sun is made of hydrogen and helium burning away into plasma. Despite being the biggest thing in the solar system, our sun is pretty shrimpy compared to other stars. In fact, some theorize that the sun will never get large enough to go supernova and will instead just burn out upon its death. However, the sun's death will still mean the death of the solar system, and when the sun gets big enough, Earth will be pushed out of the Goldilocks zone and become too hot for life. Luckily, though, that's billions of years away, so we don't have to worry about it for a while. Plus, we'll probably get wiped out because some idiot launches a nuke at the wrong place. So, yeah. But hey, sun gives life and heat, so you can't really be mad at the fact that it'll betray us one day. Then we got Mercury, the closest planet to the sun, so as you can imagine, it gets very hot. However, because Mercury has barely an atmosphere, it loses all that heat at night, becoming incredibly cold. Due to being the closest planet, Mercury goes around the sun in just 3 Earth months. However, its days are a lot longer than Earth, since 1 Mercury day is 2 Earth months. Mercury was named for the Roman equivalent of Hermes, the messenger god, due to its speed reminding the Romans of how fast the messenger god was. Venus is the second planet from the sun, and it's just slightly smaller than Earth. Venus has a very odd rotation. Not only does it spin the opposite way of every other planet, but it has a very slow rotation too, taking 243 days to turn. But on the flip side, it orbits the sun every 225 days, so its years are shorter than its days. Anyway, the most notable aspect of Venus is its very, very thick atmosphere, with clouds covering the whole planet at all times. These clouds are made of, and rain, sulfuric acid, and the thick atmosphere traps in heat, making Venus the hottest planet. So far, no machine has been able to survive on Venus due to the acid and heat. So not a fun planet to go to. Venus was named for the Roman equivalent of Aphrodite, due to how it shines beautifully in the sky, reminding the Romans of her beauty. Also, Venus and Mercury do not have moons. The most common theory as to why is that they're so close to the sun that the sun's gravity prevented them from getting any during their formation. But that's just one theory. Who knows what the reason could be. Then we got this blue and green planet called Earth. Who cares? Then we got Mars, the red planet. It's about half the size of Earth, and it got famous for its rusty red color. Mars has been endlessly studied due to being the planet that seems like it could have supported life. Sadly, all evidence points to Mars being as dead as the others, but it's highly speculated that Mars could have had life at one point, but something happened that caused their extinction before they could have fully evolved. We know for a fact Mars used to have oceans, but they all dried up. One Mars day is basically the same as an Earth day, and their year is almost twice as long as Earth's. Mars is usually considered the next destination of space travel, at least for you guys. We Luxovillers have basically been to the entire solar system, and it was my dad who invented faster than light travel. I still miss him. Anyway, Mars is named after the Roman version of Ares due to its red color looking like blood, which would get spilled during wars, obviously. And Mars has 2 moons, Phobos and Deimos, named after Ares' sons. These moons are tiny, only being a few miles long each. Past Mars is the asteroid belt, full of chunks of rocks known as asteroids, which are thought to be the remains from the creation of our solar system. These rocks couldn't fuse with any planet, so they just started floating around in a ring. Unlike what you see in media, the asteroid belt is actually very widely spaced apart, and it's a lot easier to get through than what Star Wars would have taught you. The largest thing in the asteroid belt is Ceres, the largest of the asteroids, and is currently a dwarf planet. The biggest planet, Jupiter, and the following four planets are not made of rocky surfaces. Rather, they're basically just layers of gas surrounding a solid core. Jupiter is not a friendly place, as there's storms all over the planet, with the most notable being the Great Red Spot, a large storm that's been brewing for many years. Jupiter is the fastest spinning planet, as a day on Jupiter is only 10 hours long, but it takes 12 Earth years for Jupiter to orbit the Sun, so their years have a lot of days. Jupiter is also kind of an enigma in terms of its placement, as in a lot of systems, the largest planet is closest to the Sun, but ours is pretty far back. This is often thought to be because the next planet pulled it back during the creation of the solar system. Jupiter is named after the Roman equivalent to Zeus, and it was quite a lucky coincidence since he's the king of gods and Jupiter's the largest planet. Something that the Romans likely wouldn't have been able to know since all they had to see were looking at the stars. Jupiter has a lot of moons. First, they were named after the people Zeus had relationships with, but there were so many that they ran out, so now they're just kind of named after other mythical figures, even ones not from Greece. The second biggest planet, Saturn, is famous for its huge rings. The other gas giants also have rings, but Saturn's are the most notable. Like all rings, they're made of chunks of rock and other debris caught by its orbit. Despite its size, Saturn is very light, as if there was enough water, Saturn would float on it. The winds of Saturn are also very fast, and they're constantly making sonic booms. Saturn's also an important planet, as without it, Jupiter would probably drift closer to the Sun and destroy the rocky planets. So without Saturn, we might not even exist. So thank you, Saturn. One day on Saturn is slightly longer than a Jupiter day, and one Saturn year is nearly 30 Earth years. Saturn was named after the Roman equivalent to Kronos, and it's kind of fitting that the planet behind Jupiter is named after his father. And Saturn also has a lot of moons, with most of them being named after other titans, including the moon just called Titan. Uranus is the butt of jokes of the solar system for some reason. This planet has an atmosphere mostly consisting of ammonia and methane, and is notable for the fact that it tilts on its side, which is thought to be because of a collision event that happened early in its history. One day on Uranus is 17 hours long, and a Uranian year is 84 Earth years. Uranus was the first planet discovered after the Romans discovered the others. In the late 1700s, telescopes were getting better, and it allowed us to see further out, causing people to discover a planet behind Saturn. It was originally going to be named after the King of England at the time, but eventually it was decided that since Saturn is Jupiter's father, the new planet should be named after Saturn's father, Uranus, the Roman version of. Oh, wait, he's the Greek guy. Yeah, Uranus is named after a Greek guy instead of the Roman version, because why not? Anyway, he was the sky, and as it turns out, the planet is sky blue, so we somehow keep getting lucky when it comes to planet names matching their appearance. Uranus's moons are named after Shakespeare characters, probably because they couldn't think of a group of objects related to the mythological figure. Still can't figure out why everyone laughs at this planet so much, though. Neptune is the blue planet and is similar in size to Uranus. Neptune is a very cold planet and its gas atmosphere is freezing. One day on Neptune is 16 hours long and its year is 165 Earth years. Neptune was discovered in the 1800s, or rather, it was theorized to be there. You see, astronomers noticed that Uranus had a weird orbit, leading them to believe that there was a similarly sized object behind it pulling at it. 20 years later, they were correct. The planet was named Neptune, the Roman equivalent of Poseidon, and once again we got lucky and the planet's name is fitting. Neptune has several moons, with them being named after Greek myth water beings. Then we got little Pluto. Furthest planet from the sun, Pluto is only the half the size of Earth's moon, and it's so far out the sun just looks like another star, just slightly larger. A day on Pluto is 6 Earth days, and one Pluto year is nearly 250 Earth years. Pluto's orbit's also interesting because it intersects Neptune's orbit at one point. When they cross each other, Neptune is the furthest planet. Pluto was discovered in the 1930s, but because it was so far away, it was hard to make out exactly what was being looked at with even the most powerful telescopes. So for the longest time, we only had vague images of it, until 2015 when we got pictures. For many years, Pluto was touted around as the ninth planet, but then in 2006, Pluto was officially declassified into a dwarf planet. mostly because of its size and crowded orbit. You know what? As the sole inhabitor of Pluto, I feel like I have the right to say what is and isn't a planet. And because of my position of power over this rock, I declare it a planet, and if Earth wants to discredit it, then they better prepare for war. Pluto is the Roman version of Hades, and it has 5 moons named after the things from the underworld, with its largest moon, Charon, being in sync with Pluto, with the two of them basically orbiting each other. When Pluto was finally photographed in 2015, we saw it had a heart. Yeah, you're welcome. That took me forever. Nothing. Next thing. Eris, the planet that killed Pluto. It's another dwarf planet, and when it was first discovered, Eris was thought to be larger than Pluto, though further analysis revealed that it's smaller. Eris is one of the biggest reasons Pluto got demoted, as the fact that there's another object similar in size to it was considered the final straw of Pluto being a true planet. But like I said, as the queen of Pluto, I declare it a planet. Fight me! Eris's name is fitting, as Eris was a goddess of discourse, so causing a planet to go through chaos is fitting. Well, that's the solar system for you. A beautiful place full of mystery. I have been Izzy von Luismenverg, and if any of you have requests for what scientific concept you'd like to hear about next, I would love to hear it, because I would love to talk to you. So lonely on Pluto. I met a guy the other day, but turns out he recognized me. Tried to arrest me, but, I've been on this planet far longer than he has, so I was able to escape him easily. He just went flying off and was like, "Whoa, no, there's no gravity, I can barely get a grip on and start running." And so he floated off into the depths of space to who knows where. Well, I'll see you guys another time. Goodbye.